Well, I feel almost humble preaching to someone who's already received a commendation. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. And so when you stand before the Lord, you say, I got the plaque already. See if that works out for you. And I do want to add my emphasis to the opportunity. I hope you'll join us for the new members class coming up Tuesday evening. Just write new members on your card, place that in the offering plate, and we'll take care of the rest. Well, as I mentioned in It's Friday, it was a great trip that we had. We went on up to, actually Cindy and I went all the way up to Yakima, came down to the Dalles, was there for 2 days, and then up to Walla Walla and drove back. So it was a pretty good amount of time on the road. It was also fun to meet with our new presbytery. This is the first time we have met with this presbytery, with this gathering of people, and I got to spend time with Barnabas a little bit of that. We had a wonderful message on the timidity of Timothy and that we ought not to be timid. And the preacher said it's kind of fun to say the timidity of Timothy, and now I've said it twice and it was fun both times. Plus, Cindy and I had a great time together because nothing brings a couple together like passing a semi and seeing headlights coming the other way and will we make it or not. I love that stuff. And now we continue on this journey through James. And James just keeps on pressing. He has told us to consider it pure joy when we face trials. He has told us that we need to seek God for wisdom if we're lacking any wisdom and be true to Him, not just going back and forth like a wave on the sea. And he has urged us to see ourselves and one another not in terms of how much money we have, but in terms of how much God loves us and that God's scales are quite different than this world. And last week, he taught us to trust in God's character. It is not God who is tempting us. He is the source of every good and perfect gift in our lives. So now, this day, he comes a little bit closer to our heart. She's not walking out on me. She has practice for the choir. I believe that's correct. Is that correct, Pam? Yeah, okay. Pam just didn't want to hear this stuff about closer to her heart business. But he comes closer to our heart. You might say it is our last refuge. It's the little dark place that we protect and keep God out of. And now he wants to get there too. I'm at chapter 1, beginning at verse 19. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Let us pray. God, as you have said, this word can save us. Let it continue to do its saving work in our hearts and our lives in these few minutes as we consider your truth. In Jesus' name, amen. Most of us, I think, really enjoy quick people. For those of us of a certain age, sometimes you watch Jeopardy. Is that exciting or what? But sometimes I'm amazed at how quickly they can come up with the answer, or I guess you could say the question, to whatever the clue is. They're so quick. Robin Williams, we remember him as a master comedian whose brain just could go 100 miles an hour. He was so quick at things and could just build on them in a completely extemporaneous way. They've had the hockey championship, and they pass the puck back and forth so fast. I can't believe those announcers can do those names so quick. If it was 6 of my best friends, I could not say their names as quick. I think, that's who is that anyway? But they're so quick, and we appreciate quickness. But when we say someone is quick, we actually mean they are quick to speak, quick to get in the first punches in a debate, quick to state her position, quick to make his case. There's a great power in being quick. Except here, we are being taught the opposite. We should be quick to listen. It reminds me of the famous prayer of St. Francis. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand. In other words, the first thing I want to do is to connect with that other person. And when that is the measure, right away, most of us go, uh-oh. Because we know that we are too often just the opposite. We're quick to speak, and we're slow to listen. I have a friend who is very involved in the World Council of Churches. And they were having a meeting in Australia. And they contacted the pontiff, the prelate of the Coptic church. That's the church in Egypt. And that church has gone through, terrible persecution. And they wanted the pontiff to come to Australia and be part of it. And he finally said, all right, I will come, I'll be part of the meetings, and I will speak as the Lord gives me clear direction. Fine. He lands, he gets off the plane, gets in his hotel room, comes in to this plenary session, and this meeting, and this small gathering, this little task force, and on and on. The meetings go late into the night. The next morning, papers are produced, and on it goes. 2 weeks of this. My friend said, you know what? That pontiff never said a single word. I guess the Lord never gave him clear direction. And you have to wonder, how likely is it that that would be you? Or me, for that matter. Because there we were at our Presbyterian meeting. It's a brand new thing to us. This is my first meeting, and they start talking about how we're going to design or what we're going to have in the Book of Confessions. For years, we held in our former denomination, the PCUSA, that the Book of Confessions was foundational, that it was the other half of our Constitution, and whatever we did should be in alignment with those confessions. Only they never served as anything but a diversion. They were all these points from all these different eras, so they served as like cover for whatever you wanted to put out there. And so for the last decade, I've been thinking about what do we do about the PCUSA. Steve Hayner described it to me as it's like we're all gathering around the hospital bed, and there's Mother, and she's flatlined, and the question is, who's going to pull the plug? So these are the conversations I've been in. So when they bring it up, I have a head of steam going into it, and I'm afraid they're going to make a wrong turn, and they're going to just be focused on which confessions, but not how they function. So I have to get up, and I have to say something. And I noticed as I began to speak on the floor that Cindy comes in from the back, because she's been talking with the ladies who are organizing. And I know she looked through the window and thought, oh boy, what's he doing now? So she comes in. That my big point is that we have to decide how we're going to see these confessions, what role they play. And that's more important than deciding which confessions are in there. Well, I made my point, but I'd have to say I made it rather strongly. And the question remains, was I quick to listen and slow to speak? I'm not saying I was truly sinning in that moment, but I did a couple of days later note to my Presbyterian brethren and sisterin by email that it seems a little ironic and maybe the Lord's correction that I'm preaching on this verse the Sunday after Presbytery. So we are to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and here's a news flash, slow to become angry. Slow to become angry. Man, anger is the soup we swim in these days, isn't it? I mean, how many times have you heard on the television that the electorate is angry? And if for some reason you're not angry, they are doing everything they can to make you angry, are they not? Anger gets the voice. Anger is expression. Anger is clear. It demands attention. You know, at some level, anger is all about what happened in Florida last night. Anger gets respect. But he says we are to be those who are slow to become angry. Often in the assurance of pardon for the second service, I quote from Psalm 103, where it says, the Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love. So we know that this characteristic of being slow to anger, it's part of God's character. But let's face it, all over the Old Testament, there is a lot of anger. And a lot of it is from God. And that sense of outrage, that anger is exactly what is used to set the blood afire and get the troops fighting and have these incredible, violent wars. And it still happens today. I was at an event where there were a number of pastors doing the service, and the last pastor gets up to do the benediction. Pretty simple thing. And he says something nice, like you often say at benedictions, like, may the peace of Christ be with you. And then as he's continuing on, he starts talking about, but he will come again. And this time when he comes, he'll have lightning in his fist. And you can just see his eyes flash with anger. And then he will crush those who were against him, and he will lift up his church, and he gets these rhythm and cadences going, and everyone stands up cheering. This is what they want. How great is this? Everyone else is going to be killed, and the church will be lifted up. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Anger is powerful stuff. But James says that it does not do what you think it does. It makes us self-righteous, but it doesn't produce the kind of righteousness that God is looking for. It makes us powerful, but that power is not in service to what God is all about. And this is a hard thing for us. The people to whom James is writing, I mean, they've lost their possessions, they've lost positions, they've lost status, they've lost comforts. They have lost a lot of things. They had a lot to be angry about. And like them, we almost tie it to being an American. We have the right to be angry. We can be angry at everyone. That's our right, isn't it? And modern day therapy has talked about how good it is to get that anger out. And I think that's quite right. We need safe places where we can say things that drive us crazy and make us so mad we want to spit. We need to give it voice. But then we need to realize it is not the thing that we want to live by. It is not the thing that is going to give us an agenda worth living for. Because if that is all we are about, all it does is to illustrate a bitter heart, not a great God. So, if anger is a thing that we're in, what in the world are we going to do about it? And this is a tricky juncture, because if you read this wrong, then the message is you're just going to have to close your mouth more and get more angry and boiled up inside, but don't tell anyone until you become a top and you blow. I don't think that's the approach. First, he says, you clean house. He says you get rid of the moral filth and evil that is so prevalent. In our little trip, we had 4 nights in 4 hotels. And one of the nights, we were in a hotel in Yakima, and next morning I get up and get in there and start to take a shower, and the water starts kind of coming up. Not a drop is going through that drain, you know. And so I said, oh, Cindy, good thing I got the first shower. Anyway, so she comes in and she showers. By that time, it's up to the bottom of her calf. And so we're down there explaining, you know, after we have breakfast, we explain to the desk, you need to fix this because it's a problem. And Cindy says, I was like washing off the bottoms of my feet to try to get that yuck off me. The lady said, by the way, well, we're going to comp you the breakfast. I said, if I'd known that, I'd have stuffed the towel down the night before, for sure, to make that happen. Sometimes we need to wash the yuck off. We need to see that soup of anger we are swimming in, the residue of our society that clings to us. We need to see it and wash it off. You look around you at what you are expected to accept as just a matter of course, and you say, I don't accept their framework. I don't want to live in a you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours worldview. I'm not accepting that power is worth what people sacrifice for it. That sex with anyone is all right as long as I'm being true to my own needs, or that money is the bottom line. I care about reflecting the righteousness of God. I care about following Christ. And so if you are mired in some yuck right now, where you know your spiritual life is being dragged down, it's time to change that. There is some work required on your part, of course. You can first turn to the Lord and ask Him to help extricate you from the mess you are in. You can decide which people you want in your life who are positive influences and make a plan to connect with some of those people. And you can make sure that you're going to be involved in some excellent activities. You're going to go to that exercise class. You're going to go to that AA event. You're going to go to counseling. You're going to go to Bible study. Whatever it is that gets you on the right path, you're going to do that. And you can reflect on this passage every day. Today, I'm going to be quick to listen to my kids. Today, I'm going to be slow to speak about my burdens to my spouse until I've heard their story. And when she or he pushes my button, I'm going to count to 10 before I say a single angry word. Our first step is to change our own patterns and to wash off the yuck of this world. And there is a second step. We find it in our text. And it is so simple and so good it just gives me a smile. That step is to, quote, humbly accept the word planted in you. Now, what does he mean by the word? What he means by the word is the message of Jesus Christ, of his love and of his grace, and what he has done for every single one of us. And we are to accept it humbly. We're simply to let it in and say, Lord, I don't deserve all this, but you have provided. You've given every good and perfect gift in my life. And you have told me that I have so much more to be thankful for than to be angry about. That word, that is the word that has been planted in you. And he says, not put there like it was something put in your pocket, not even just given to you like a gift. It's lovingly planted into you. It's put into your heart and into your life. It was put there when God worked with your parents and brought that word to you, or God worked with this church and brought that word to you, or God worked in those circumstances and brought that word to you. It is a custom deal. Now humbly accept that word for you. And when we accept that, then we don't have to defend ourselves as if no one knows who we are, as if your point seems to not matter to anyone. You don't have to shout how important you are, because you realize that there is a word in your heart planted there long ago. And now that you're making some changes, that word is flowering. When you humbly accept the word planted in your heart, you find it much easier to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. When I was a young Christian, you know how there's different fads that happen among Christian sellers of things. And they used to sell a button, maybe they still do, and it just had letters on it. PBP, GINFWMY. And you wear that little button, and people, of course, would do what is required of that. They said, what in the world is that? And the answer was, and some of you know this answer, please be patient. God is not finished with me yet. We are all a work in progress. If you haven't arrived yet, if you sometimes speak at Presbyterian a little more directly than is necessary, if you blast someone you wish you hadn't, or if you are not quick to listen, be patient. Be patient with yourself. God isn't finished with you. Now it is for us to be on that journey, to be seeking Him, and to allow ourselves to be drawn more to Him, to humbly accept the word He has planted within us, and to focus less on the call to anger that is all around us. So my advice is that we all let Jesus Christ become your anger management. Let us pray. God, allow this word to be planted in our hearts, and this truth to be something that we own, that we are in this journey of growth, and we begin now anew. In Jesus' name, amen. The ushers are just about done and coming forward. Would you all stand up, please? In the back of your bulletin, you have an affirmation of faith. And I'd like us to say that together. The praise team doesn't have it on their screen, so if you say it loud, they'll get it, okay? Let's say this together. By His grace, we will be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. We will seek His righteousness all the days of our life.
Darkness seems to hide His face, I rest on His unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. My anchor holds within the veil. Christ shall come with trumpet sound. Oh, may I then in Him be found, dressed in His righteousness alone, all faultless stand before the throne.
Let's hold hands with one another across the aisle. Now, friends, is a big task. Go out in the world by the power of the Holy Spirit and reflect the righteousness of God by being quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and all of God's people said, Amen.